Hey, Precious, welcome to BroadBand, the podcast.
Thank you for having me, Denise. I am so happy to be here.
So I want to share with our audience that I met you through Twisted Networking
Yes.
and had such a lot of fun talking with you and getting to know you a little bit in that context. I'm like, I am going to have Precious on my podcast. So that's a little context of how I know you a little bit. And I'm hoping I can get to know you a little bit more in our conversation today. And also our listeners can get to know you too.
All right. Thank you so much for
Okay, so we're
even
going to just
about interviewing me.
jump right in here. So, can you share a little bit of your background, whether, professionally or personally, whatever you want to share with the world?
All right. So, hi, everyone. Thank you, Denise, so much for having me here to be interviewed today. My name is Precious Monteiro. I'm out of the great state of Rhode Island, and my background is in food management. So, I used to manage a fast food restaurant. Now, what I do professionally is I currently work from home part time, even though I do have a part time job that I do go to. But what I'm mainly focused on is my part time professional career, where I work for home as an independent sales rep with Legal Shield.
Okay. So, can you talk a little bit more about that role and why you love it so much?
Yes, I can. I just have to say, my role is to basically give people equal access to the justice system, right? So some of you out there may have been in a legal situation, may have encountered a legal situation, but didn't know where to turn or what to do because the cost of a lawyer is way too expensive, right? Paying $200 to $300 an hour just to ask a question. Well, what Legal Shield do, what my role is get individuals to subscribe to our app. We provide a legal app on your phone where anytime you have any legal questions, you can just pull out the phone, tap the app, and call your lawyer. And guess what? And don't have to worry about getting a bill in the mail. So it doesn't matter if you have a landlord-tenant issue, if you've been overcharged for a repair. We give people that equal access. Just to give you all an example who is listening, I just recently purchased a home. So I moved out of my last property, and there was a few items that we had to leave at the house that we weren't taking. Now, I did all the steps I needed to do, far as in calling waste management, having them pick up the items, and then little do you know, the landlord shoot me a text of a $250 violation saying that we left litter, right? So the first thing I did was contact my attorney to find out my rights. Then the next day, right, she's supposed to have been giving us our security deposit back. The next day, I received the email from her again, stating that why she was going to keep our $1,000 security deposit when her list was all wear and tear stuff. So the next day, I had to call the lawyer again and get my legal rights. And my lawyer is actually going to be writing a letter to my landlord stating that she cannot hold my security deposit for normal wear and tear. It has to be for damages. So I just want you to, think about that. If I didn't have this type of service, I would have been like, oh my gosh, I'm out of $1,000.
Right. Because who knows really how to navigate all of that? I know I don't.
Right. So you never know what to do. And the peace of mind I have to just pull out my Legal Shield app and tap the app and call my lawyer, speak to my lawyer, let my lawyer know my rights, and get a letter written on my behalf. And guess what? I didn't get a bill because I subscribed to Legal Shield, and it's only $24.95 a month. So I have to say, Denise, I love what I do because I'm helping people. So when I go to sleep at night, I feel good that the average person that probably couldn't pay for an attorney for those situations can now just pay $24.95 a month and have access.
Yeah, have access to that expertise. I'll be sure to include a link in the show notes so
Okay.
people who want to take a look at that can learn more about that. So we're going to just change it up a little bit, okay? Let's say you could go back to your younger self. What kind of advice would you share with yourself? Whether, professionally, personally, but something you would share.
I would have to say, if I went back to my younger self, I would say, Precious, read more, right? And it's something I'm still struggling with now. But what I find is reading really sets you up for your future. And if you read a lot younger, you can it can advance you so much more in life. And people sometimes really don't understand the importance of picking up a book and reading, right? I got a book on my desk, picking up a book and reading. because it teaches you so much more, and it kind of really validates what people tell you, I have to say.
Yeah.
It validates it. So if I can talk to my younger self, I would say, Precious, pick up a book more and less social media.
There you go. So if you could go 5 years in the future, what do you think your future self would share with you?
I really think my future self would say to me, great job, Precious. Great job, Precious. You have done all the things that you said that you will do. And I want to say, keep up the great work. And I really think that's what my future self would tell me in the next 5 years.
You know, I have a little zinger question I'm going to throw in there. When you hear the word ambitious, would you consider yourself ambitious?
Very.
Okay. And what does that conjure up for you when you hear the word ambitious?
I feel like ambitious is a no give up attitude, right? Being ambitious is going for something, right? Like say for instance, you set a goal and you want to go for it. Say if you want to be a doctor, right? You got to go to school for that. So being ambitious is doing what you said you would do. Being ambitious is the drive. You know what I mean? I am ambitious. I'm not just saying, oh, this is what I want to do with no action steps in place. It's like, this is what I want to do, but these are the action steps I'm going to take to get to where I need to be. So I think being ambitious is not only just saying it, but doing it.
Yeah. It's integrity, having personal integrity
Right.
to believe in what you're dreaming to achieve, and then putting your words into action and living it. And you know what, I gotta say, the first time I talked with you and when I've seen you again and talking with you right now, you are so confident. I wish I had, that confidence, that aura of confidence in who you are and how you want to live your life. So I just want to say, you inspire me. Super confident. So who helped you be confident? Who inspired you professionally or personally?
Well, I have to say, my mom was really good. She was really like strict growing up. She didn't play. She didn't play growing up, so she made sure that we supposed to do the things that we wanted to do. But I will have to say my mentor, his name is Raymond Smith. He's known by Brother Ray. He was my mentor growing up in high school. He was my guidance. He was everything. When I was having a bad day, I could call him, talk to him. He was there for things I needed when I didn't have it. And he did not only become a mentor, he actually became my godfather. We're really close today. But he's funny because he's the one that actually introduced me to Legal Shield 8 years ago. But before Legal Shield, he was always there. He was always my guidance. He was always a ear to talk to what I'm going through. He was just a big influence in my life and still is. If you could see my desk, he's right here on my desk as well because he's been a huge part of my life. And I would have to say, professionally, I had an upline, Mr. Kevin Calise, who helped me on this entrepreneur journey when I first got started. Like my godfather introduced me, but Mr. Calise was the one that kind of molded me a little bit of this because my background is in food management. I don't know anything about sales and I didn't know anything about entrepreneurship. And I have to say, Miss Javanya Allen, she's been a huge support in my professional journey. So I really do appreciate everyone who's been an influence in my life.
Yeah, Giovanni, I know. She's actually going to be a guest on the show as well, and really impressed with her energy as well. I got to say, that's my favorite question to ask my guests because every time I ask the question, the guest gets brighter and lighter, and really it's just, you can see the change in them when they are remembering the people who made such an important difference in their lives. I love asking the question, but I love hearing the answer to it. So how do you keep your momentum going at a healthy pace, if you will? You got a lot of stuff going on. You are not resting on your laurels. So how do you balance all of life's adventures?
That's a great question, Denise. For some of you who may not know, not only do I work part-time and not only do I work part-time from home, but I'm also a mom of twins. boys, 2-year-old boys, and I'm also a wife, right? So, well, fiance, soon to be married wife. So, to keep a healthy pace to balance it all out, my best advice is to plan your night the day before, right? You have to plan your night the day before. You have to wake up knowing what you're doing. Because if you do not wake up knowing what you're doing and you wake up trying to figure it out, guess what? The day is going to figure you out.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make sure, in order to keep a healthy pace, you want to have this stuff written out. So you have your day written out. Like, I knew I had this interview today. My fiance's home for work, so it worked out perfect that I can be in here, and I know after I get off here, I'll be working 12 to 2 in my home office, and then I have the rest of my day to myself. But you have to know what you're doing in order to keep a healthy pace, to keep the momentum going. Because we wake up just figuring it out, it's just not going to work.
You're going to spin your
You're going
wheels.
to be scrolling through emails all day and doing nothing, but you think you're doing everything, but you're doing nothing at all.
I know. I'm a planner too. I do it every Sunday.
Ooh.
I will sit down and I plan out my week.
Oh, plan out oh, wow.
Yeah. And it's a habit that I had to, I just didn't wake up one day and say, oh, right, I'm going to do this. And boom, I was doing it. I had to build up my stamina to make sure that habit was in place. But I have to tell you, knowing what I'm doing for the week, I know what appointments, which contracts I'm working on, my professional development, if I want to go out and have lunch with a friend, though that's not very common with COVID times, but I have it planned out. So I'm not getting up in the morning like, oh, what am I going to do today? And then 3-4 hours later, it's like, oh, it's lunchtime. So I totally appreciate that.
Right.
So what kind of advice would you share with anyone who's thinking about going after a dream, pursuing a professional dream, whether it's being a sales rep like you are, or any kind of dream? What kind of advice would you share with someone?
I would share, it doesn't matter what you're doing. I would share with you is to trust the process. So many of us have these goals and dreams, and we see what we want and we know what we want, but we're not willing to put in the time to get what we want, right? And so a lot of people, they start these goals and they start to, try to get to their dreams, and then they quit too soon. I would say trust the process, because success don't happen overnight. It happen over time. And long as you keep that mindset, I've been doing my work from home business for 8 years now, and I'm not where I want to be yet. But one thing I do know, if I trust the process and I continue to do what I'm doing, it eventually, it's just going to prosper. It has to prosper, because I'm becoming better and I'm doing more activity. And more importantly, I would say, give yourself 3 to 5 years. Give yourself 3 to 5 years, whatever business that you start, whatever venture, whatever journey, give yourself 3 to 5 years to actually become knowledgeable, to actually see the profits, right? Sometimes you may not see it in the first year and you're like, oh, this ain't worth it, I'm quitting. No, don't quit, because that first year you're still learning, right? The second year you become better. The third year you're like, I'm ready.
I got this.
Right? So it's not always easy when you're on this entrepreneur journey, but my best advice is that what's not easy is never worth it, right? So if it don't come easy, then it's going to be worth it in the long run. So just keep going, keep striving. I don't care if it takes you 10 years. If it takes you 10 years to not work for someone else for the rest of your life, then do 10 years, but you're not retiring at 65. So.
I love your way of thinking. I love it. Listeners, viewers, can you tell now why I invited Precious on the show? My gosh. How would you describe your entrepreneurial spirit?
I would say energetic. I would say energetic. I would have to say, when you're an entrepreneur, you really have to love what you do. It's not something you say, oh, I can make a lot of money with. Yeah, you can make a lot of money with it, but money really don't. Let me not say money don't buy you happiness, because money could buy you happiness. It could buy you whatever you want. But if you're doing something strictly because of how much money you can make, it's never going to last long, right? So you have to do something that you love to do, right? Because when you do something you love to do, it keeps your spirit going. It keeps your spirit high. So what it's sometimes when I help families with this service, I forget that I get paid the next day. I forget because I'm not doing it to sell you a service, which I am doing it to sell you a service, but you understand what I mean? I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it to help people. And by me having that mindset, doing it to help people, I get compensated in the back end of it. So I would say my entrepreneur spirit is energetic. Now, don't get me wrong, viewers. We don't always be happy and jolly every day as an entrepreneur. No, there's our days you're ready to quit. There's our days you're ready to give up. There's our days you don't even want to talk to anyone, right? But when you go back and you think about why you're doing what you're doing, it picks that spirit right back up. And so I would just say my entrepreneur spirit is energetic and willing to do the work.
And tenacious. I'm going to say tenacious also.
Okay, I like that. Thank you.
So how much time do you get? I mean, because you're got a very full life. You got 2 darling little boys, a family, your part-time work, what have you. But how much time do you dedicate to professional development?
So I read personal development books. So I read 10 minutes a day. 10 minutes a day on my personal development for 5 days a week. I read a spiritual reading every day from Jesus Calling. I'm not sure if you ever heard of that, but it's just a motivational speak every day. I join 3 of our business trainings every week. And I also do 15 to 20 minutes of a motivational audio. So I develop, I would say weekly, I would develop at least an hour a week towards reading, 3 hours a week towards training, and maybe 2 hours a week towards audio motivation.
Right on. You're putting me to shame. All you ladies I'm talking to are spending so much time investing in your professional development that I'm like, I need to up my game. And you're another case. Oh my gosh. Do you have any books or podcasts or videos or blogs or something that you can recommend to folks to help with their professional development?
Well, I guess it's depending on what you're doing. Right now, I am in the network marketing business, so I'm currently reading The Power of Five by John C. Maxwell.
Okay.
Five by John C. Maxwell. I love John C. Maxwell books. He's really good in what you need. The Success Principle by Jack Canfield.
I love that book.
It's a thick one, but it's a really good book. I'm excited about that. I'm currently reading. I have read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. If you haven't read that one, I definitely will recommend that one. Building an Empire by Brian Carruthers. And some of the audios that I listen to, I listen to Eric Thomas a lot. If you guys don't know, he's the #1 hip hop motivational speaker of the world right now. Eric Thomas. YouTube him. You get all of his audios for free. And as well as Les Brown. I love listening to Les Brown. They have that spirit that gives me. So I would definitely recommend those books and audios.
Oh my gosh. I'm going to totally go search them out, and I'll include links to all these resources in the show notes. Now I have one final question for you. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay. What is your favorite? Well, actually, let me say this. It's actually 5 questions in the last question. Okay. So it's 5 things to know about you. So what is your favorite flower?
You know, when I saw that question, I was like, I don't know. What is my favorite flower? It really made me think, but I would have to say sunflower. I love how they look.
They're so cheery. Coffee or tea?
Neither.
You're not the first person to say that. Okay. Tahiti or Paris?
I would have to say Paris.
I'm right there with you. Are you an intention setter or a goal getter?
Goal getter.
You are totally a go-getter. And do you have a favorite quote you can share with our listeners and viewers?
I guess one of the ones that I heard was if your name is not outside of the building, then you're simply building someone else's dream.
Oh, that is a good one.
And I can't remember who quoted that. I heard it between one of the executives in the company, but I don't know exactly where he got the quote from, but that one I heard and it stuck with me for a very long time now.
That's a good one. Thank you. Precious, thank you so much for this time.
Thank you for having me. I really do appreciate it. You are the best interviewer ever.
I didn't tell her to say that, I swear. No. Thank you.
You're welcome.